Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my top 5 high-end eyeshadow palettes for the summer. I did this with my affordable eyeshadow palettes and you guys seem to really like the picks that I came up with and the fact that I've been using them on my channel consistently and just like crazy because they're so good. I feel like the drugstore has just been coming with it. But some notable palettes out there that are high-end that I think are worth mentioning and are just wonderful, and I will be using them all summer long. I did use I think almost all of them on this look today. I used a few shadows for my kind of contour bronzer part of my look today. Also, I use them on my eyes. So, I mean, I love them and I use them quite often, and I kind of dipped into a little bit of everything just to kind of create something really like fresh and clean and beautiful. So if you want to see what top 5 eyeshadow palettes I picked, just keep on watching. So first of all, I want to apologize for the hair today. It is just really hot in Arizona and I wasn't feeling it. I really didn't want to do my hair, so it is up in this crazy bun. Look how high that is. I feel like a cone head. I'm like, but whatever. We're rocking it today. So yeah, today's kind of a lazy day. I have a client later on this afternoon in the evening time, kind of. It's like 5-ish. So I'm going to be going to do their hair, but I wanted to get filmed and I wanted to do some content today because yeah, I was feeling it. But I'm wearing my new kitty shirt, which I don't know if you guys saw on Instagram. I freaking love cats. Obviously, I have one. And he's amazing, annoying, but amazing. And I'm all about cat paraphernalia. I have like cat coffee mugs and cat shirts and stuff. I freaking love it. So, I mean, my kitty shirt, who doesn't love a good kitty shirt? Like, come on. Like seriously, who doesn't love a good kitty shirt? So we're rocking it today. But let's go ahead and just hop right in now that I'm done babbling. So I do have 5 eyeshadow palettes and 1 notable mention. And honestly, I love doing that because if you don't like any of the picks that I picked, there's always one more that might kind of strike your fancy. So I'm gonna go ahead and just hop right in, and I think we're gonna start from the smallest palette and work our way up. The smallest palette that I have here that I will be using all summer long because I love it so much is the Baked Browns by Dose of Colors. I love Dose of Colors formulation. I feel like it is extremely pigmented. It's great for blendability. It is able to be built up, as well as the fact that when you're looking at the color story in these little palettes, it really does kind of make it seamless so that you're not having to overthink about what is the next shade, because it does go from lightest to darkest. I love this palette in particular because it does have those warm tones over here. It's got a great transition shade and then those lighter kind of brow bone shades and that kind of camel color that I think is a staple in all eyeshadow palettes. I love this one in particular just because you can get some great day or night looks out of it, and it comes with a great mirror. The packaging is fantastic. I love this, and today I actually use that camel shade as my transition and the white shade all over my lid after I put on my primer. But yes, I did use this all over my lid today, and then I used that camel shade in the transition, kind of just put that down before I went in with more cool tone shades. So the next one on the list here for my favorite high-end summer palettes is definitely the Sultry palette from ABH. I love this palette so much. I don't know, I just love her formulation. Whatever she's been putting out lately has just been rocking my world. The Riviera palette is freaking stunning, and it's got pops of color and it's beautiful. And I love the Soft Glam because it's a lot more warm tone, but I think this has to be one of my absolute favorite ones that she has put out lately, other than like the Makeup by Mario, which I freaking love that palette, and it's obviously not able to be purchased any longer. But this one is just, if I could make my own palette, this would be it. I mean, it has everything you need. It's cool toned. It's freaking stunning. I love the little pop of color that it has. It screams my name. And it's funny enough because in today's eyeshadow look, I use Twig and Birch. Twig is over here. Yes, Twig is over here, and then Birch is this one here. I use those cool tones after I use the Dose of Colors kind of camel color to make sure that it kind of came out a little bit more on the cool side. And honestly, like, they just blend together so beautifully. There's really not a whole lot of work that needs to be done when you're putting that into the crease. And honestly, they're so buildable. You can get a deeper, richer tone from some of these if you are building it up with a very small kind of dense brush, or if you go in with a real nice, light, fluffy brush like I did today, you can really get a just wash of color. And it just, I don't know, just something about this palette. I think it's the packaging is amazing. The color story is perfect. I love everything about this. And to be honest with you, I probably will be using this all summer long. So the next one on the list of summer palettes that I'm definitely going to be using all season is actually from Saucebox. It looks like this. This is the Interlude palette. I believe this one is still available on their website, and let me tell you that this is your all-around neutral palette, yes, and it is all matte. Again, yes, but I love how versatile this palette is. This color here mixed with this color here, I believe this is Caramel and this is Dream Cream. I put those together and use them as my bronzer and contour today. Depending on the brush that you're using, you can use both of these together. You can use this one by itself, but it really gives you a really nice wash of color all over your skin if you are the same or a little bit lighter than I am. Even if you're just a touch darker than I am, you could still use these colors as contour or bronzer shades. And I love the fact that I could actually use this color right here, which is called Biscotti. So I use Biscotti as well as a blush. If you're going to use it as a blush, because it is extremely pigmented, I use a stipple brush like this, use a really light hand, get in there. It gives you the most beautiful tone on your cheeks as long as you go in with a very light hand. I do like this palette as well because it does come with a matte black. If you wet down your brush, you can actually make it into a liner, and it can go underneath the lower lash line, and you can kind of smoke that out a little bit with more of these neutral tones. You can put a cream shade down as well right under the brow bone. It's just very versatile. It comes with a nice big mirror, and it's great for travel because you can be so versatile with this, and you can actually use it on your skin, not just your eyes. It makes it one of the best palettes that I have in my collection because of the diversity of it. So the next palette I'm going to be talking about is the Colored Rain palette, the Queen of Hearts. Okay, so this one was limited edition, then they decided to bring it back for a second round. I didn't pick it up because I'm not that smart, and then they made it permanent. There is a reason they made this permanent. Let me tell you, this palette is freaking stunning. Everything about this palette is gorgeous. I love it so much. The foiled metallic shades are everything. Royal Highness and Dethrone are just perfect. They just give you the most metallic-y goodness that you could ever ask for. And I actually use it with a dry brush. It still gives me that metallic look without overdoing it, and there's not a whole lot of fallout either, which is wonderful. The pops of color here are everything. I'm digging the brow bone highlight here. I did dip into this today and put it on my brow bone. If you can see, it's really nice. It's not overly chunky with glitter. It kind of gives you just a beautiful sheen right under the brow bone. It's perfect, and it blends out seamlessly. It is so good. It's buildable. I just love everything about this palette. Not only is it the foiled metallic shades that made me want to buy it, and the color story and everything about this really, but it is the creamy mattes. They're so good. And again, it comes with a mirror. I mean, it is a little bit bulkier long-wise to store or to travel with, but again, this is one of those staple palettes I feel like everybody should have because it's going to look amazing on all eye colors. Colored Rain is killing it with this palette. Their formulas in general are just bomb, so I would say if you're looking into a high-end palette and you're not sure which one you want, I would say start with this one. So good. It's so good. So let's talk about the honorable mention before we talk about the last palette. This palette retails for $75. I was actually going to declutter this and I decided not to. And the one I am talking about is the Violet Voss Ride or Die palette. I'm not huge into reflective palettes. Like the packaging is a little bulky for me. And I mean, that's kind of like shallow, I guess, to think about, but I mean, it's super duper heavy. The mirror in here is insane. Like, as you can see, it's freaking huge, and I don't want to blind you with my ring light, I'm sorry, but this palette is enormous. So let me just move over. The thing is about this palette, I kind of was deterred from using it quite often just because it is so big and chunky and all of that. But once you get past all that, you have to really appreciate what is going on here. They have every color you could ever need, ever, I promise you. They have the gorgeous matte white shade, they have a matte black shade, they have a black shimmer shade if you ever were interested in that. They've got a shimmery white tone for the brow bone, which isn't overly glittery, it's just finely milled enough so it gives you that sheen or that gorgeous just kind of glowiness right under the brow bone. They've got a nice cream tone that you can lay down after you put on your eyeshadow primer. They've got some really beautiful browns that are more on the cooler side. We have some warm browns down here. The red tones, the yellow tones, the more neutral tones, the camel tones you want for your transition. Everything is in here, and let me tell you, this color right here is what I have all over my lid. It is called Alex, and it is the perfect taupe, but it's not warm taupe, and it's not too cool taupe. It's like the most perfect neutral taupe shade I think I've ever come across, and it's so buttery and just, it's so good. Like, can you just, oh, I didn't even need to wet down these shades to get the amount of pigmentation I was looking for. It really went on with a dry synthetic brush. They're easily blendable, and it just depends on your pressure when you're using your brush and which brush you are using. But let me tell you, if you are new to makeup and you're looking for one palette that's gonna do everything and you can create 90,000 different looks, this is it. I have refallen in love with this after my declutter because I feel like I did need to bring out some of the palettes I might have been neglecting, and this was definitely one of them. But again, once you get past the bulkiness of it, you can make any eye look ever with this. No wonder it's called Ride or Die, right? I'm not huge on the outside packaging, but if you look past that, the interior of it is just, it's perfect. It's so perfect. So lastly, what I wanted to mention, I'm going to preface this as best I can, is that you do not need this palette. This is not something that has to be purchased tomorrow. This is not anything that is not what we've already talked about or what you've already seen. Because this palette retails for $130, it is not a necessity. But if you have the money to splurge a little and you want something luxury, I would highly, highly suggest this because the formulation blends itself. Like, legitimately, you don't even have to work at it, it just does it itself. It's perfect. So what I'm talking about is an all neutrals Biba palette from Natasha Denona. I love the outside casing. It's much different from her gold palette and the Lilia palette and the Sunset palette and all of that. It is very different in that aspect, that it comes in that hard plastic. I believe the Safari and Tropic also have plastic, which I like that they are starting to do that. Again, it has a gigantic mirror, and the palette itself is stunning. I love the tones in here because we have a row here of all neutrals. They're not too warm, not too cool. They're really right in the middle. They kind of hit you where you need when it comes to transition shades and some bright glittery tones as well. The middle shade is all the warmer tones, more of the red undertones, the orange undertones, the yellow undertones that really want to pack a punch if you're looking for a more warm tone look. And then also we have the cool tone row right here, which is definitely more of those grays, those rich grays that have more of the blue base, which I love. And I actually used, let's see here, which one? I used Sculpture. I used Sculpture and Tour today in this gray tone. I didn't think it was going to be as opaque as it is, and the reason why is because a lot of the time you need to build up gray tones because there's not so much pigment in them when they are being formulated, but this one is just not like that at all. You go in and you can really just get in there and all of a sudden there's like pigment and it blends itself. It doesn't get patchy or anything like that. So the formulation on these are freaking perfect. My favorite tone in here is Monroe. I think that that's probably a universal color for everybody. It's kind of that champagne pinky tone. So, I mean, this palette itself is the most expensive that I have in my collection other than the other Natasha Denona huge $240 palettes. This one, I feel like this one is more geared towards everyone because like the Sunset palette, Lila palette, those ones are definitely more geared towards people who like warm tones or purple tones or whatever. But this one is geared for everybody. You can use it on any eye color. Love everything about this palette. They nailed it. They killed it. Whatever they're doing over there, Natasha Denona knows what she's doing. That formulation is freaking on point. It's so awesome. I love it. So these are definitely some of my favorite high-end palettes that I'll be using this summer and probably for the rest of my life, to be 100% honest with you. If you guys have different palettes that are high-end or drugstore that you think that I should try out or that you have heard amazing things about, please let me know in the comments below. I always see your comments and I try to respond back as soon as possible. I love your guys' feedback, constructive criticism, anything, because it really does make me better. And I love you guys so, so much. I hope that you have a wonderful afternoon. And if you have actually tried any of these palettes as well, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I love you. Have a wonderful afternoon, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!